Hey everybody, I'm back with Ivy's Lupus Life, and this is part 10 of my story. Um, with this particular video, I wasn't quite sure what to discuss next. Um, so I asked one of my friends what I should talk about today. Actually, I got a request from one of my viewers, and she mentioned to me some things that her mother is going through that I had kind of grazed over on previous videos that she wanted me to go into a little bit more, um, is to help her understand that, again, she's not alone. Um, so it's kind of a weird, not really a weird topic, but I guess it's just not something that's typically addressed quite a bit, which is basically gastrointestinal issues. Um, of course, I have lupus, and sometimes lupus can also affect your digestive system or your gastrointestinal system and things like that. I had mentioned on earlier videos how I have IBS, and IBS sucks. Anybody that doesn't know, irritable bowel syndrome. Now, over the years, even as a kid, I've always had occasional gas. Whether it be belching or whatever, it's just always been there. Gas, X, Beano, all this stuff, none of it worked. But I got diagnosed with IBS officially as after my lupus diagnosis. And baby, when I tell you, it is not fun, okay? As the years went on, like when I was younger, I had like gas issues and stuff like that. It wasn't a big deal. But as I got older, especially around like I started to feel all the symptoms with the lupus and stuff like that, they got progressively worse. I also mentioned in the previous video how I was dealing with these recurring ovarian cysts and the symptoms that I would have as far as the belly, the bloating and stuff like that, the pain, the cramping feeling, and feeling really full and things of that nature. And I said that some of the symptoms mimicked the IBS. Well, that is very much the case. I want to show you something with this IBS things. I told you before about how when my stomach would get really bloated, I feel like I looked like rather I was about 4 months pregnant, sometimes 5, depending on the situation. So I want to show you this. This was one of the most recent episodes in which my belly swelled. I don't know if you can see that very well. As you can see, never mind my little scars and my surgery scars, but as you can see how big my stomach looked on that picture. So yeah, IBS, not fun. I remember I was on a trip to Chicago, and again, IBS is not one of those things where, oh, it's just a gas issue or something like that. There's a few different kinds or variations rather of IBS, and for me, my IBS varies between constipation, diarrhea, nausea, gas. It's just a full combination of all those things. So I was on a trip to Chicago, on a train ride to Chicago nonetheless last year. And let me back up a little bit. Actually, after my oophorectomy surgery in March of last year, which, when they took out both of my ovaries, I had an appointment scheduled with my GI doctor. Actually, prior to my surgery, I had an appointment scheduled to get a colonoscopy done. But then I had to have the surgery, so they had to push my colonoscopy back a month because he wanted me to heal from the surgery. So I had this colonoscopy done, and my doctor is very much, he's funny, but he's kind of a butthole nonetheless. But he's a cool butthole, I should say. He's really straight, very funny and everything. So I had this colonoscopy done, and he was like, hey, colonoscopy came back fine. You have a narrow colon. I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means, but whatever. He's like, it could be a number of things. It could be nothing. It could be, residual effects from the surgeries I've had, the multiple surgeries I've had on my lady parts, which I did not know that could be a thing, that lady part surgeries can affect all that stuff. But, getting a whole anatomy lesson as I learn all these different diagnoses that I keep getting. But, yeah, so I had this colonoscopy done. As you know, prep work for a colonoscopy sucks. It's just not cool. You gotta drink that nasty solution and stuff like that. Clean your whole body out. So I had the colonoscopy. Everything came back fine in terms of no polyps or anything like that. But he said I had narrow colon. So he's like, hey, I want you to get a barium enema. That is worse than a colonoscopy. The prep work is worse than a colonoscopy, okay? The colonoscopy, you just have to drink that stuff and clean your body out. Of course, you can't have any food at a certain time, blah, blah, blah. The barium enema, I had to drink that nasty solution, which is jug about what, like this high or whatever. And I had to drink, what was it? It was something else, but I had to do like that big drink. I had to do like some other like Miralax type stuff. I had to do a laxative on top of that. And I had to give myself a suppository. And this happened like over a course of maybe like 24 hours. I had to do all this stuff to make sure I was all the way cleaned out. So I got to the place to get the barium enema done. I didn't really know what to expect, but I had kind of Googled some things about barium enema to try to figure out exactly what it is. Y'all, this was not cool, okay? And I'm gonna see if I can find a little picture of this thing that they had to use. So basically, though, what a barium enema is, they go in and it's an x-ray. It's an x-ray of your entire colon. And it just goes in there and has to see exactly what it is that is going on, where my colon is narrow and things like that. So, but when I got there, I didn't know exactly how this would go or how it had to be done. So they have you get undressed naturally, and I had to lay on this really cold, hard slab of steel. And they showed me what they had to use, because again, I wasn't sure, so I asked them. And they showed me this little thing. It looks like a little penis, okay? And this is kind of what, this right here is what it looks like. Now, you can't really see, it has like this little bubble thing right around the tip part. So basically what they do is they have to lay on your side, okay? And you lay on your side, they spread your cheeks, and they stick this thing up your booty hole. Don't feel good. Not my thing at all. So I have to stick this thing up in there, blow up that little balloon to expand your colon, and then they shoot this liquid. It looks like a milky substance or whatever. They shoot it up there, fill everything up. And I'm like, whoa. Did not feel good. I was like, dude, I said, y'all got to hurry up. I said, y'all can't put me to sleep? He told me, no, they can't put me to sleep. I said, well, why not? Because this is not comfortable at all. They said, oh, but because we need you to move around when we do this. I'm like, hold on, dude. What you mean you need me to move around a little bit? He's like, yeah, we have to take different angles. I'm like, come on now, for real? So at this point, I'm laying on my side. And then they want me to lay on my back. And then want me on my other side. All while this thing is hanging out my butt. I was so mad. I was so uncomfortable. I felt so violated. So I'm woke. And I feel this thing going in my butt. So then I feel the balloon expand, and then I feel the stuff getting shot up in there. It was just very disturbing. So they take all the images that they need to take, and say, oh, okay, well, you go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. So I go to the bathroom, and I immediately start peeing out all this white liquid out my butt. I know this is all TMI, y'all, but this is just me. This is the truth. So anybody who's never been through a barium enema, you know what to expect. Anybody who has IBS, they know this is something. This is a test or x-ray or whatever that you could have done. I'm just trying to prep you for it because nobody prepped me for it, okay? Nobody told me what to expect. Only thing my GI told me is, if you didn't like the colonoscopy, you're not going to like the barium enema. Could have throat punched him that day. But, yeah, so it took a while for me to get all this stuff out of my system or whatever. But all in all, again, I saw exactly where my colon was narrow, like the doctor was saying or whatever. So then he's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's definitely narrow. It literally went kind of like this, and then it got smaller in a certain section like that, and it just kind of opened back up. So he's like, yeah, I want you to go get a CAT scan now to see if we can further figure out why your colon is narrow. So I went and had the CAT scan done and everything else. And he comes back and is like, yeah, it's scar tissue. Nothing that they can do anything about. So I done got my booty hole violated and everything else just for them to tell me it's scar tissue from all the surgeries for my lady parts. So yeah, I did not know that scar tissue down there can affect colon and stuff like that. So again, everything ties together. So again, jump to my trip to Chicago. So I was on a train headed to Chicago. It's me, somebody else, my niece, my daughter, great niece, and stuff like that, cousins, or whatever. So we're on a trip to Chicago, and that morning, everything was fine. All of a sudden, my IBS says, bam, I'm here. I was like, oh, crap. Now, it was only a few hour ride from where I was to Chicago. And I spent the better part of the trip on the toilet. Again, I know this is TMI, but it's the truth, okay? Yeah, I don't like to use public restrooms, but at that moment, I didn't have a choice. Now, surprisingly, the train bathrooms were pretty clean. But all in all, still had my disinfectant spray and everything else because I didn't want to catch nobody's cooties. I already got enough stuff going on. So, yeah, I spent the better part of that trip going to Chicago in the bathroom. It was terrible. And one thing I found is that when my IBS kicks in and the diarrhea portion of it kicks in, I heard the Tux wipes help soothe that because that can get a little raw and and hurt and stuff like that. You go to the bathroom so frequently. But yeah, so I would spend the better part of the trip there in the bathroom, and I didn't really have much of an appetite. So we get to Chicago because we got there on a Friday afternoon or something like that. So on Saturday we get there and we're having a good time and everything, but Chicago has a lot of different culinary experiences that I could, indulge in. I could not really indulge in any of them. I wasted so much money on food because I had absolutely no appetite, thanks to my IBS. Yeah, no appetite whatsoever. Even though the food that I did taste was okay, and not to mention, I didn't have a taste for anything. At this point, I was constipated all day Saturday. So it was really uncomfortable. So mind you, I had just a whole gastric episode on Friday with the diarrhea. Moving on to a different type of gastric episode with the constipation all day on Saturday. So I didn't let it ruin my trip or whatever the case may be. I still enjoyed myself, had a lot of fun. So on Sunday on the train ride back home, not quite on the train ride back home, but that morning when we were supposed to leave, excuse me, all of a sudden I was feeling super nauseous. Like I was so nauseous, you would have thought that I was pregnant or something like that. Now, luckily, my stomach hadn't gotten all bloated and everything like that at this point, so the gas part of it didn't really bother me. But the third day, it was nausea. And I remember I wanted like an orange soda or something like that. We were going to eat some burger place across the street from the hotel. It's supposed to be really, really good. It was not good to me. Wasted all my food. Even the soda was disgusting to me. Ended up throwing everything up. I didn't start getting an appetite back until we were almost back home. And like that, even though I enjoyed my trip, my body just wasn't enjoying the trip in terms of my IBS. I go again from diarrhea, constipation, thrown up, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It just was not a pleasant experience nonetheless. But yeah, it's just IBS sucks. It's not as severe as like Crohn's and all that stuff Crohn's comes with, but when you have IBS, believe me, it's not just the whole, oh yeah, you know, you got a little bit here or whatever. It's not that bad. No, it is painful. It is very uncomfortable. It is just not, yeah, it's just not cool. Now, on my Chicago trip, I had mentioned that I didn't really have an appetite, right? It's funny because that may not necessarily be much different than my regular life, I guess you can say, because I rarely have an appetite. I would love to lose at least about, I'd say 20, 25 pounds or something like that. I'm not big, but I would love to lose that. But unfortunately, I don't ever really have an appetite. So, you know, most people, or some people rather, when they are bigger or they gain weight over the years or whatever, a lot of it's just they eat too much or they overindulge. Me, on the other hand, I have a hard time trying to eat. Like when I eat, my portion size is maybe like toddler size. And I feel a little bit like a hypocrite because I try to get my daughter to eat. Hey, you have to eat the vegetables, you have to eat this much or whatever. But my portion sizes are oftentimes smaller than hers. And I try to eat sometimes after she eats so she won't see me not eat. So it's just really difficult for me. Like literally, I'll eat and I'll get full really quick. Now part of that might be the IBS and the abdominal swelling and stuff like that. But my primary basically told me one day, she's like, hey, I think you have an eating disorder. Again, eating disorder is not necessarily, oh, I'm bulimic or anorexic or anything like that. Apparently there are a lot of different types out there. But one of mine, I don't know what it's called. It just kind of happened to be the fact that I don't eat. My thyroids are fine and they run all those tests, but I just don't have an appetite. Honestly, I'll be satisfied eating some popcorn and getting a cup of water and I'll be good. Or if I need something a little bit heavier, I'm like, okay, let me get a bowl of cereal or something like that. I just don't have a desire to eat like a full meal. It's just not something that works for me. So, again, with the IBS though, it's just, I know that there are other people out there who probably go through it. As you know, it's just not a fun thing. You do get really nauseous. You do sometimes have a hard time keeping things down, at least sometimes for me. Again, my body feels like it's exploding imploding, exploding, whatever, from the inside out. It just, and you know, the weird thing is my doctor tells me to help combat that. You know, what I can do is get like some Miralax and drink it on a regular basis. If that's what I need to do. The only thing is I can't do Miralax on a consistent basis like every single day because at the drop of a dime, my body will switch from, hey, today we want to go. Other days you might be like, not doing anything. And the other days I'm just kind of like, bleh. Depends on the situation. Depends on how my body's feeling that day. So I kind of have to do the Miralax thing, just kind of whenever I deem it necessary, whenever I feel like I'm about to be backed up or whatever, or stop it if I feel like everything getting a little too loose. He also gave me the pills I mentioned on the previous episode or previous video, the isothiamine, where it's a tab I put under my tongue and it helps with the abdominal spasms, as he calls it. So it also like anti-nausea, something like that, or whatever. It takes about 10 minutes or so to kick in. So yeah, that's that with the IBS. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is today this video is brought to you by me in a bonnet. Okay? Again, this is me unfiltered or whatever. So okay, so my last video you saw that I had crochet. I had my hair braided. And again, I have the alopecia. So I try to do, some protective styles that don't put a lot of tension on the crown of my head, which is where my thin spot is as far as the alopecia goes. So I had those braids, but it wasn't individual braids. It was crochet braids. So it wasn't a whole lot of tension. Now that hair, for some reason, is a little bit heavier than the normal hair, so I didn't leave it up as long. But, yeah, so I get the crochet braids done. Now, because of alopecia, I have scarring alopecia also, which scarring alopecia in certain spots, my hair is just not going to come back. And then, like I said, again, with lupus, it can also affect your, the alopecia and everything like that. It may thin or come out in certain areas or whatever. So, even though I have edges, I feel like sometimes they're little struggle edges, okay? So they're kind of sensitive, The feelings get hurt a little easy, so I got to be careful with them. So, considering the fact that this whole coronavirus thing has everybody pretty much on lockdown, I'm stuck in the house. So I figured, hey, take my hair down. Now my hair is natural. So I said, let me just try this little wash and go thing I keep seeing or whatever, kind of see how it works out. Now I will say, even though my hair is not as full as I would like it to be, it is long. My natural hair, when I flat iron, it comes about like right, I think something about like right here. So it is long, just not full. So I took my braids out last night or yesterday afternoon, and I washed my hair, everything, got it all conditioned and whatnot. And I was in the mirror, and I got a little bit misty-eyed almost. Not quite, almost. And I said it because now, even though my hair is natural, my hair is long, the shrinkage is real when it gets wet. So when it's wet, it looks like it's about maybe like right here in length or whatever. So I got out the shower and everything, and I was, making sure my hair was all detangled or whatnot, moisturized. And I looked at the top of my head, and my hair was thinner now than it was the last time that I really looked at it. And I said to myself, kind of jokingly, but at the same time, kind of truthfully to myself, where I really, felt it. I thought about really quick all the issues that I have medically in terms like the lupus and all the stuff, the diabetes, all the things that you cannot see that goes on inside my body. And I thought about the last week and a half or so, whatever, my knee bothered me a little bit or whatnot. And on top of all of that, I have this alopecia and my hair is thinning. So I looked at myself, I said, girl, you, excuse my language when I say this, but I said, you are a broken-bodied, bald-headed bitch, okay? I don't call myself a bitch. I don't call anybody a bitch, but that was just the first thing that came to my mind. Now, it's not like, I don't have like no George Jefferson going on or anything like that. I don't have like it's called a cul-de-sac. I don't have none of that, but it's definitely, to the touch, I can feel that I don't have very much hair, like here. Because I could still kind of get away with comb over if I needed to do that, you know. But the reality of it is my hair is definitely thin. So, you know, at some point I know that it's probably not going to get any better, because when I go to my dermatologist, I asked him the last time my checkup, because I have to take this, or I have to use this special shampoo and a special oil for my scalp and stuff like that. And he was like, hey, so we know you have scarring out at your hair. He said, looks like it's moving to the side a little bit. So I'm just like, I said, Doc, are you telling me that pretty soon I'm going to look like the Cynthia doll from Rugrats? And he was like, well, I really wouldn't put it that way, but he said, you're going to have some trouble areas. Then, you know, well, in addition to what you already have. So I'm like, yeah. And I feel like I'm just going to be a broken-bodied, bald-headed chick forever. But it's okay. You know, I'm going to make the best of the situation. So, anyway, so I went ahead and I went through with this whole wash and go thing or whatever. And it wasn't bad. It's just not something that I'm used to. But considering the fact coronavirus got everybody quarantined, it's a perfect opportunity to do it. Because ain't nobody got to see it if I don't like it. So my husband doesn't like it, but, you know, he doesn't like majority of the styles that I get anyway. However, he always tells me, it doesn't matter, babe. He's like, it's your head. You do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. But yeah, very rarely does he like any of the hairstyles that I get. Or at least if he does, he doesn't really say it. Whenever I ask him, he just, whatever. So yeah, that's why I have the bonnet on today. If you don't like it, I don't care. It is hot, y'all. Let me take this off. Whew. And got my oversized shirt on. Look how hot, got it out on hot flashes. Man, that's another thing. These hot flashes lately, y'all, I feel like the devil trying to make love to me. My whole body is just on fire, I feel like at times. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Ooh, my forehead glistening and stuff. Do y'all know these hot flashes be having me just burning up? Like I feel like I need to swipe degree on the bends of my arms and the bends of my legs and stuff. Man, these hot flashes ain't no joke. Sometimes I really want to go find my ovaries and put them back myself to, you know, go ahead and regulate this body temperature. And look, now I'm getting cold. It's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, so yeah, today is a very random video. I do have, not really random, but just, yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of random. But anyway, so I have a couple of things that I want to discuss the next time. And then we will go from there. So yeah, this is me, Lupus Life. Subscribe to my channel, like my videos, whatever you want to do. You know, this could be the only time you watch it. Maybe you'll watch all the other episodes. Again, this is part 10. I feel like it's very, and I guess I'm getting more comfortable making my videos and talking about things or whatever. But again, for those who are just now tuning in, go ahead and check out parts 1 through 9. I have some very, very good information, very unfiltered me. That's just how I am. I'm tell it how it is. So again, so at this point, everybody who's seen the videos now has gotten a more in-depth understanding, I guess you could say, of my body and everything that, you know, that's going on with it, or whatever the case may be. So you see, I'm just a walking book of medical stories, I guess you can say. But all in all, you know, I still accept my flaws and accentuate my features and whatnot. So I've accepted this alopecia. I don't know, maybe I need to find me some wigs or something, or find me some other something. What I'm not going to do is shave my head off now. No, I ain't going to do that. So, yeah, I guess I will see y'all next time.